Everyone mentioned today is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and everything I discuss here is theory until proven fact, even if it is. Hey guys, how you going? Okay, let's start from yesterday's video that I bookmarked this part of it because there's more in this. I thought it was going to be the same, but there's actually more in this about Schwab, Klaus Schwab. George Christensen said the fall of Schwab. Why was Klaus Schwab, the godfather of globalism, pushed out of the World Economic Forum after 55 years in charge? His own staff blew the whistle, and here's what they exposed and why it shattered the Great Reset. Schwab didn't step down because he was fired or tired. I don't know what they mean, tired or fired. He was forced out after an explosive I think it means tired, actually. He was forced out after an explosive internal letter from WF employees exposed years of corruption, luxury and lies inside the forum. The letter claimed Schwab treated WF like his own empire. He sent junior staff to withdraw thousands in cash, billed hotel massages to donors, took luxury hotels disguised as business. He and his wife allegedly turned a $50 million WEF-owned villa into their own private retreat, bought and renovated with donor money, sold to the world as a conference centre. This is the same man who told you to eat bugs, ditch your car and own nothing and be happy, while he lived like a royalty on money meant to save the world. He called COVID a rare but narrow window to reshape society, and he used it to push for lockdowns, digital ID, central banks and stronger global government. Schwab pushed a plan called the Great Reset. He said it would transform everything: your job, your home, your privacy, even who you are as a human being. You think all of this is just a conspiracy theory? Schwab openly wrote about it in his books, and wait till you hear what else he pushed. He wrote about implantable microchips. He said AI and tech would change not only what we do but who we are, and he wasn't joking about any of this. The WEF board wasn't joking either when they held an emergency meeting on Easter Sunday. Within hours, Schwab was gone. No thanks, no parade, no goodbye, just a resignation effective immediately. This news is being buried by the mainstream media. There you go. Let's be clear, this wasn't just the fall of a man, it was a crack in the entire system. The illusion of Davos invincibility is breaking. He built a network of unelected billionaires, tech barons and politicians who shape world policy without votes, debate or consent. And now that empire is rattled, and that's why they're pushing hard on the censorship. Of course, the re-election of real Donald Trump as POTUS has upended their agenda, as have the elections of Georgia Maloney, Jamie Ely and Viktor Orban, and the rise of populist movements through Europe and elsewhere. The globalist cabal is now in full retreat. Originally Schwab, yeah, he might as well be a swab, planned to step down in 2027, but the letter from the WEF whistleblower exposed too much. He couldn't wait it out. He had to go, and fast. His downfall proves something powerful. These global elites aren't invincible. Their agendas can be exposed, and when they are, they run. But don't relax just yet, because the man replacing Schwab, Peter Brabeck-Letmeth, is even worse. More on that in the next thread. Hint, he once said water shouldn't be a human right. Oh, look at his eye. Did he get punched in the eye or something? Okay, Schwab is out, but the fight is far from over. So if you believe in freedom over control, sovereignty over surveillance and truth over technocracy, then share this thread, follow me on X and subscribe to my newsletter. And you can follow George Christensen on X. So that just had a little bit more information than yesterday's one. Alexandra Marshall said for the always was, always will be protesters who want to abolish Australia, let's say you get your wish. There's no more Westminster democracy, no more evil capitalism, no more white guilt, No more $40 billion a year for the grievance industry. Look at the indigenous populations in the Middle East, the conquered countries of the people you march beside. How did their cultures fare under Islamic political systems instead of Christian ones? Shouting propaganda has consequences. One day you'll get what you want. You'll tear down Australia and all the wealth, safety, prosperity and respect it affords, and you will not be able to get it back. The West will be gone, and the countries you're too frightened to travel to will be this one. And then remember the giggle tickle. This is really weird. Their names are really weird. Giggle and tickle. What happens when you tickle someone? They giggle. Okay, Rachel Wong said this is a selfie Roxanne Tickle submitted to enter the Giggle app. According to Tickle's lawyers, the hairstyle and low-cut top should have been a dead giveaway to Sol tweets that this was a woman. Do you believe this is a woman? Get forked. No. Apparently YouTube, you can swear in the first 7 seconds now. They want government ID, but you can swear in the first 7 seconds now. Many people had videos removed for swearing in the first 7 seconds. Apparently you can appeal them. If YouTube doesn't, I doubt they'll automatically try and give them back themselves. You might have to go through all your videos. Okay, Rod D. Martin said, breaking, President Trump just hit Switzerland with a 39% tariff. The Swiss are panicking. The government's holding emergency meetings and CEOs are begging for mercy. Here's why it matters and why it's working. The tariffs were no accident. Switzerland ran a $38.5 billion trade surplus with the US last year. That's more than Mexico. Trump made it clear, if you want free access to America's market, you don't get to take and never give. Switzerland now faces one of the highest tariff rates in the world, tied only with Syria, Burma and Laos. The EU got 15%, the UK negotiated 10%, Switzerland 39%, and wait for Australia. Yeah, God help us. Why? Because they didn't come to the table. They thought they were above all that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we'll get hit with 39% tariffs then. Trump didn't slam the door, he left it open. The tariffs were announced on August the 1st, but don't take effect till August the 7th. That's not a coincidence. It's a negotiation tactic, and the Swiss got the message. Within hours, Switzerland's government called a special emergency session. They're offering to buy US LNG, invest more in American manufacturing, and even send top officials to Washington this week to cut a deal. About time. Fair's fair. Swiss stock markets tanked. Luxury brands like Cartier, IWC, Longines and Omega all fell 3 to 5% on fears of losing access to their number one export market, the USA. This isn't just pressure, it's leverage. As Trump says, tariffs are a tool, not a punishment. He's forcing allies and rivals alike to the table with American jobs, energy and investment as the deal. And so far, it's working. Don't listen to the critics. Trump's 39% tariffs is a message. America's open for business, but not as a doormat. Deal fair or deal with consequences. The Swiss can have a better deal. They could have had a much better deal 90 days ago. Ask Iran. Donald Trump said 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance. And if you enjoyed this content, you can follow Rod D. Martin on X. Okay, so there's that. Oh, here we go. Francie Nancy said Matt Walsh on Australia's rise in violent crime. Australians have had legal access to machetes without any issue whatsoever. It was only when Australia began importing the third world en masse that machetes suddenly became weapons of mass terror. And I happen to agree with that. The British Patriot said, breaking. Nigel Farage erupts after being asked where should migrants be deported. Nigel said, I'm sorry, I've had enough of this. If you come from Afghanistan, you go back to Afghanistan. Do you agree with Nigel's statement? I do. No matter where you come from, back you go. Now this. Oz Integrity said Roblox is played by children aged 6+. Language warning. Australia's Labor government has given Roblox, a known pedo-grooming application with chat function, a free pass exempt from the under-16s ban. This ban is about digital IDs for adults. Let's have a listen.
Let me put y'all right here, because I got a lot to fucking say. I don't know who the fuck created Roblox, but you need your ass beat, and your ass needs to be locked the fuck up, and the app needs to be completely gone away from the app store. Cannot download it fucking anywhere, because let me tell y'all something. Do y'all not have some type of fucking policy or some type of security or something for motherfuckers to fucking go through to play on this fucking game? Why the fuck I'm sitting here laying next to my son, editing on my phone, and he's spelling out. He's like, Mom, what does this say? I said, okay, spell it out. He's spelling it out. I'm not understanding what he's spelling, so I look over to see what the fuck he's talking about. Why the fuck I look over to my son's screen and I see this shit? That is a motherfucking naked ass character climbing onto the bed with the words at the top saying, take your clothes off. Then I caught another video. A naked character on top of another character spelling out a moan, talking about some Now, mind you, before I recorded the second video, the motherfucker was bouncing up and down on his character. Look, if y'all get in my motherfucking comments and y'all go against anything that I'm saying, or you don't agree with the way that I'm acting or agreeing with what I'm saying, you're a fucking problem, because in this household, I do not subject and expose my child to adult conversations or adult things.
Go, mama.
Period, point blank. Bottom fucking line. This shit is fucking disgusting. Then I said, let me go through this fucking app. Mind you, my son can't fucking read, okay? I'm going through the app. You get to the motherfucking chat. It's a motherfucker in here who's 23 years old calling 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds hot based off of a motherfucking character. Let me just fucking read. Let me just fucking read. The 23-year-old says, I may be poor, but in person I look so hot. This girl, her name's Lee. I ain't gonna even call out the fucking. But she says, but I'm 12. He says, to be honest, I'm 13. JK, I'm 23, but don't tell anyone. The 23-year-old says, no, I'm sorry. The 12-year-old says, I'm 12, but what would you do if I would have been 10? The 23-year-old goes, I would still date with you. The 12-year-old goes, but are you for real? 13. He goes, yeah, JK, of course, I'm 23. She says, oh, you scared me. He says, so what's wrong with the age I'm at? It's about the beauty in you. Roblox, get it the fuck together. Please get it the fuck together. This is fucking sick. I'm fucking mind blown. And I'm coming from a place of being a parent who is scared of shit like this. Even though I have all boys, it can happen to boys and girls. But this shit right here, I'm fucking disgusted. I'm honestly fucking disgusted. And I just can't. So if you're a parent like me, and you care about your fucking kids, and you care about what the fuck they're being exposed to, and you care about them being around and seeing other fucking kids and just all of that fucking shit, take the shit off of your son or daughter's laptop, computer, iPad, tablet, phone. Take it away from their screens. Period, point blank. I'm fucking disgusted, and I cannot wait until his dad wakes up and I tell him this shit. My son is not in trouble, but now I have to explain to him that there are inappropriate things on this app that you're playing on, and you can no longer play on it. That's my fucking 2 cents. Roblox, get it the fuck together.
Good on her. I'm sorry for all the swearing, but
right here.
I'm sort of not either. She has every right to be angry. Any parent would be. So Roblox is not included in the under 16 ban, but YouTube is. It's not about children. MAGA Voice said breaking President Trump sticks up for and defends someone from Doge who was brutally beaten in the streets of DC. Either they're going to straighten their act out or we're going to have to federalise it and run it the way it's supposed to be run. I love this. Yeah, apparently Big Balls was assaulted. Well, I think he went to help someone and he got assaulted. Okay, so Hustle Bitch said, breaking, what the hell is hitting New York? Another earthquake just rocked the city. This isn't normal. Why does the ground keep shaking beneath New York City? Readers added context. Earthquakes in New York City area are not as rare as implied. Small tremors like the recent 2.7 near Hillsdale, NJ on August the 5th occur periodically, often along faults like the Ramapo Fault. They're also known... Oh, okay. Anyway, could be them blowing up underground tunnels. Here he is. Thugs in DC beat up big balls, apparently. Okay, don't want to show too much. Alexandra Marshall said that the world's governments already forget how UN net zero policy nearly collapsed Sri Lanka. Shouldn't that be something we mention when we talk about trashing our own agricultural industry to reduce emissions? Yeah, they collapsed Sri Lanka. So that's what they're doing to us, see? Gunther Eagleman said good riddance to Hunter Thompson, is it? He's a something wrong with him too, man. Howard Stern, There's something, yeah. Wasn't he the one riding around with John Cusack and that with a blub-up doll in his convertible? Yeah, I've heard some really bad stuff about him too. Okay. So there you go. So you made Howard Stern. Naz said Trump made a series of stunning announcements. At a White House press briefing, Trump and Pam Bondi revealed major announcements and hinted at what's coming next to America. And trust me, it only gets crazier as you read on. Here's everything you should know. The Supreme Court's double victory. Two massive 6-3 Supreme Court rulings announced simultaneously. Nationwide injunctions effectively dead and parental rights restored in schools. But this was just the beginning of what Trump revealed. The immediate policy avalanche. Policies now moving forward without court interference is birthright citizenship, 30-day countdown, sanctuary city funding cuts, refugee resettlement suspension, and federal transgender surgery funding has stopped. The shocking district breakdown. Out of 94 total federal districts in America, just five liberal districts issued 35 of the 40 nationwide injunctions blocking Trump's agenda. 5 districts were controlling policy for 330 million Americans. The historic scale, Trump and the unprecedented judicial resistance, more nationwide injunctions than entire 20th century combined. Nearly 700 federal judges could previously block presidential policies and policies tied up in courts for years. The parental rights victory, Todd Blanche on the second ruling. Parents can opt out of transgender ideologies in schools, restores parents' right to decide children's education, and no longer forced exposure to objectionable content. The strategic legal approach, how Trump's team won. Challenged injunction power itself, not underlying policies. Focused on separation of powers, not constitutional merits. Avoided fighting birthright citizenship directly. The terror gang numbers, Pam Bondi's enforcement update. 2,711 arrests of terrorists and gang members today. TDA MS-13 Sinaloa cartels targeted. HSI investigations ongoing. Violent criminals are the priority. A systematic abuse. Trump described the broken system. If any one of the nearly 700 federal judges disagreed with the policy of a duly elected president, he or she could block that policy from going into effect for many years. Democracy versus judicial tyranny. The constitutional restoration, Trump's framing, brings back the Constitution, restores separation of powers, opposite of power concentration, stops judicial branch from stealing executive authority. The green light forward, Trump explained the urgency. We have to act quickly when it comes to illegal immigration. We have murderers, killers, drug dealers, and the old system would take years to overturn wrong decisions. The American people voted for these policies. Why this all matters. This solves the timing problem we had. Nationwide injunctions used to tie up policies in court for 2+ years. Presidents only have 4-year terms. By the time the appeals were won, it was too late to implement. This ruling removes that delay completely. And if you like this thread, you can follow NASTech AI on X. Excellent stuff. Australia's Governor-General is meant to be neutral. She's the one who's supposed to be called for another election if our government don't do what they're supposed to. So why is Sam Mostyn, patron of an activist group that just scored a huge tax perk from Labor? Right in time for Tickle versus Giggle. A thread on political favours, gender ideology and $4.5 million scandal that the media won't touch. Equality Australia, a radical advocacy group hawking gender ideology, was repeatedly denied charity status by courts and regulators. Then the Albanese government quietly approved it and handed them a $4.5 million tax perk, right after Mostyn became their patron. This happened after the charity regulator ruled that Equality Australia does not serve a benevolent purpose. Equality Australia's real aim? Agitating for social change, not relief to those in need. The AAT and full federal court agreed. 3 rulings, all ignored. After losing in every legal forum, Equality Australia went directly to the Albanese government. Assistant Charities Minister Andrew Leigh used his discretionary powers to sidestep the rulings. With a stroke of a pen, he gave them DGR status, including big donor tax breaks. What is DGR status? It lets donors claim tax deductions for donations, normally reserved for groups providing real aid like housing the homeless or feeding the poor. Instead, it was handed to a political lobby group pushing irreversible gender treatment for minors. By the way, on staff at Equality Australia, none other than Teddy Cook, trans person, the trans activist behind the censorship complaint law that saw Billboard Chris hauled before an Australian court. But back to the scandal at hand. Sam Mostyn signed on as patron of Equality Australia just 1 month before it received its coveted tax status. Yes, Australia's Governor-General is now directly tied to a group receiving big favours from the government in office. What's more, the organisation Mostyn patronises is now intervening in Tickle versus Giggle, a case that could strip Aussie women of the right to run female-only spaces. Equality Australia is siding with trans-identified male against a women's app founder. The case will test whether biological sex still matters under Australian law, and the activist group trying to erase that distinction. They've been empowered financially and politically by the Albanese government, with the Governor-General as their patron. Almost no one's talking about this. Family First has rightly called for Mostyn to resign from Equality Australia, Andrew Leigh to be referred to the anti-corruption watchdog, DGR status to be fairly extended, example, to the Australian Christian lobby or revoked altogether. Family First National Director Lai Shelton, as our head of state, the Governor-General must remain above politics. He's right. The headline issue here is impartiality. The Governor-General is not technically barred from political ties, but Westminster Convention demands neutrality. That's what gives the office its legitimacy. Mostyn's activist ties are extremely problematic. The Governor-General backs a radical group. They got $4.5 million in tax perks right after she signed on. This is the opposite of integrity. It's unelected power enforcing ideology and erasing truth about women, biology and basic rights. The Albanese government hasn't explained any of it. No public statement, no press conference. Just more rubber stamping and more taxpayer dollars funneled to activist causes. And if you like this, you can follow Kurt Malberg on X. That is such a conflict of interest. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but that's what it seems like to me. Kate said he can't speak with Trump, but he's spoken with the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Friday and the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in the last few days. We know where this is heading, don't we? Albanese's priorities. And he's spoken with Xi Jinping. Yep. Hosan said Trump just crushed Brazil with 50% tariffs, but this isn't about trade. It's about a Brazilian judge who violated US citizens. Now, Alexandre de Moraes is about to learn why you don't mess with America. He is the real reason Trump's nuking Brazil. Meet the judge who runs Brazil's Supreme Court. Alexander de Moraes wields power American judges could never touch. Jail anyone, censor everything, no oversight required. In 2024, he picked a fight that could cost Brazil billions. August 30th, Moraes banned Twitter across Brazil and 200 million people lost access overnight. Why? Elon Musk refused to delete government critics. But that was just Moraes' opening move. Moraes froze Starlink bank accounts, nothing to do with X. X faced huge fines starting at $100,000 per day, per account, not removed. And Moraes launched criminal investigations on X executives worldwide. Then came the 40-day blackout. X was shut down in Brazil. Journalists lost their news source, businesses lost customers, citizens lost free speech. Moraes called it protecting democracy. But this is what sparked the national intelligence warnings. American citizens were next. Their crime? Criticising Brazil online. Living in America, posting American opinions. Yet their accounts vanished and criminal investigations were launched. You thought Moraes was finished? Not yet. Moraes prosecuted Trump's ally, Jair Bolsonaro. The charge? Questioning Brazil's 2022 election. Sound familiar? Supporters jailed without trial, assets frozen, passports seized. Trump watched his friend face the same lawfare he knew all too well. January 2025, Trump entered office with private warnings for Brazil. Stop the witch hunt or face consequences. Brazil ignored him, Moraes doubled down instead. So on July 30, Trump unveiled his ace card. 50% tariffs, no negotiations, effective August 6. Coffee prices would spike, manufacturing would hemorrhage, Brazil's economy would bleed billions. But the tariffs are just the beginning. Trump invoked emergency powers reserved for terrorism. Treasury froze Moraes' US assets, banned his travel and added him to the sanctions list with hardened criminals. Brazil's government exploded in rage. Coffee jumped 30% overnight, Brazilian exporters lost billions, but Trump had calculated carefully, exempting aircraft, energy and orange juice. He wanted leverage, not a complete wipeout, but he got something even bigger. A new precedent in global power. America has never weaponised trade against judicial overreach before, but now every country with US trade deals has suddenly sat up. But this reveals something huge. We're living in a chaotic time. AI disinformation, reckless world leaders and prohibited speech. If you're not controlling your narrative, you're putting yourself at massive disadvantage. Look at anyone who's successful. Elon Musk built his reputation through pure transparency. Joe Rogan has a cult-like following that defends him no matter what. They're all doing the same thing, controlling their narrative, sharing their real story. And as a result, no one can take them down. People follow them relentlessly. Their customers are pre-sold on trust. Investors have confidence automatically because in the digital age, your personal brand is the ultimate competitive advantage. Ready to build it? Founders will build your personal company. Okay. It's an ad now. It's turning into an ad. If you like this, you can follow her son on X. Okay, what's this? Matrix Mysteries. The poison was never forced. It was offered gently until you forgot it was poison at all. Mark Twain. A thread exposing the everyday lies and propaganda we've been sold. Health wasn't the lie. Medicine was. Oh, I don't know if I should read this here or put it on in the medical file for Rumble. I'll see how far I get. Oh, no, I think I should put it in Rumble. The business of Big Pharma, a patient cured is a customer lost. Just remember that. Remember that when you go to get certain procedures. I'm not a doctor. See a doctor for medical advice. It isn't built to cure diseases. It's built to monetize it. Okay? Same as your pets, believe it or not. I'm going to put this in the medical folder and we will have to read this on Rumble because it is in the medical folder. There you go. Okay, this one, breaking Trump's DOJ from Rod D. Martin just eliminated a 44-year-old race-based hiring decree. For 4 decades, this racist mandate rigged federal hiring against merit and in favour of race discrimination. Today it's dead. Here's a turning point. Here's what it means. In 1979, a lawsuit claimed the federal hiring test PACE was racist, so the Carter DOJ caved. The US government replaced merit-based exams with outstanding scholar and bilingual bicultural racial preference hiring programs. DEI's prototype was born. For 44 years, this decree forced a form of DEI into every federal department. Race-based preferences, discriminatory test reviews, massive compliance bureaucracy, handcuffed hiring managers. It distorted everything from OPM to NASA. Now it's over. DOJ just filed to end the, Lovano decree, calling it flawed and outdated, draconian, a barrier to hiring top talent. This is one of the biggest rollbacks of government racial bias in my lifetime. Assistant H.G. Harmeet Dillon didn't hold back. For over 4 decades, this decree has hampered the federal government from hiring the top talent of our nation. Today, the DOJ reopened federal employment opportunities based on merit, not race. And that's not all. Just days ago, the DOJ warned if you receive federal funds and run DEI programs, you're breaking the law. That means universities, schools, contractors and non-profits. It's about time we enforce the Civil Rights Act. No segregation, no discrimination in employment based on race, gender or national origin. This isn't just red tape reform, it's civil rights restoration. DEI has turned the Civil Rights Act upside down, substituting quotas for character and grievance for greatness. The era's ending. Trump is pulling it out by the roots. Democrats claim DEI was about equity. It was always about power, racial gatekeeping, bureaucratic control, ideological purity tests, and race-based Democrat-only House seats. Trump's DOJ just restored the law and thereby flipped the table. And if you like this, you can follow Rod D. Martin on X. Okay, there he is. Big balls, lived up to his name, took on 8 different people that were beating on a woman. There you go. Tried to stand up for a woman, and he got beaten. That's from Gunther Eagleman. Neil McCoy Ward, freedom of speech in the UK, still gone unless JD Vance can save it. He's leading a US fight against the UK's new Online Safety Act, calling it a direct threat to Western values, a violation of free speech rights, a move to force US tech firms to break the First Amendment. What he discovered, 99.7% of removed UK content was legal speech. YouTube, X and others are under pressure to censor. Parliament refused to even debate repeal despite 490,000 signatures. This fight is for the future of the free world. Britain just told 490,000 citizens their voices don't matter. A petition to repeal the Online Safety Act reached nearly 500,000 signatures. Parliament refused to even debate it. Thus, your political content is now filtered before you hit publish. Platforms are forced to suppress Reform UK posts, hide protest footage, and age-gate parliamentary debates. Even investigative war journalism is being locked behind verification walls, all in the name of safety. YouTube's being pressured to boost BBC content by force. Ofcom told them to prioritise UK public broadcasters, regardless of what users actually want to watch. If they refuse, the government will legislate it into law. Freedom of speech gone. Free market gone too. A US delegation led by JD Vance and Rep Jim Jordan travelled to London and Brussels this week. They didn't just go to talk, they went to fight. Vance called the UK's Online Safety Act a direct threat to Western freedoms. His team included both Republicans and Democrats. What shocked them the most? 99.7% of deleted posts under the Act were legal. A study showed 87.5% of removed EU content was also legal. Misinformation is undefined, means whatever the government wants it to mean. Legal speech is being removed anyway. Peter Kyle MP called dissenters dangerous. Jess Phillips MP said repealing the Act helps predators. Sign the petition, you're a target. They're using emotional blackmail and moral threats to silence opposition. What does that sound like to you? The US's response, they're now threatening visa bans on UK and EU officials who participate in censorship. That's the officials, okay, not the people, the officials. The UK's reply, it's none of your business, we're protecting children. Even when almost 500,000 citizens asked for a review when they ignored it. I bet your roadblocks are still available there. This isn't just the UK, these laws are spreading globally fast. Australia, total social media ban for under 16s. Canada, digital charter backed by the WEF. Singapore, Brazil and India all launching similar laws. EU expanding the DSA to more countries this year. This was planned. The World Economic Forum laid the groundwork for these censorship laws years ago. The documents still exist. Even though the WEF have lost credibility, the infrastructure is now being deployed worldwide because they're desperate. You are being conditioned to comply. This isn't about protecting kids. We either speak now or we lose the right forever. And you can follow Neil McCoy Ward on X if you like this thread. Well done, mate. Oh, I think I'm going to wait. My goodness. I think I'm going to do this on its own, or how many? 18. Oh, let's have a go. Be the last one I do. Flopping aces. The Epstein files were in Democrats' hands for 3-4 years. Now the tapes were gone and all they found was downloaded porn. Yes, really. New York Times just dropped the new high-resolution photos from inside Epstein's townhouse. But the real story, what's missing? Let's talk about it. The New York Times published a massive spread of images showing the inside of Epstein's Manhattan lair. They revealed surveillance cameras in bedrooms, a sculpture titled The Bride Greeting Guests, framed prosthetic eyeballs, photos with Clinton, Gates, Musk, MSB and Jagger. They even publicised a bizarre letter from Woody Allen comparing Epstein's mansion to Castle Dracula, filled with young women like Lugosi's vampire brides. But here's what the New York Times didn't say. Where the images came from, why they're being released now, what happened to surveillance footage. That's right, the article shows the cameras, shows the room, shows the guests, but never asks the only question that matters. If Epstein's house was wired for surveillance, where are the tapes? This isn't a tinfoil theory, it's an established claim backed by a 2019 New York Times article quoting Epstein himself. We keep everything. And yet the latest New York Times drop pretends like the question of the video evidence is irrelevant. They walked right up to the edge and looked away. But we already know what happened to the tapes, or rather we know what didn't happen. The FBI didn't find them. Instead, according to former Florida AG Pam Bondi, the videos of children, we are told, was just child pornography that Epstein downloaded off the internet. Let's break that down. Bondi, not a random pundit, but DOJ head, said the DOJ told her all they had was internet-sourced child porn. Not surveillance, not compromat, not footage from inside Epstein's house. And look again at her phrasing. We are told. That's lawyer speak for I don't believe them, and I want you to notice that I don't believe them. She's signalling without saying it out loud. Because if she did accuse the FBI of destroying evidence, they'd call her insane. Let's connect the dots. Epstein's house was covered in cameras. Everyone from Clinton to MBS to Woody Allen visited. The DOJ had all this evidence from 2019 to 2024. Trump was out of office. The compromat disappeared. Bondi was told it's just downloaded porn. Then right on cue, in 2025, as Trump begins his second term, the New York Times drops the photos. No source, no tapes, no context. Just shocking images designed to reignite outrage and muddy the waters around Trump and anyone he knows. Let's be blunt, this is Russiagate 2.0. Same agencies, same media choreography, same selective drip of information. But this time, instead of a fake dossier, they're using Epstein's horror show to stage a moral panic. One sec, guys. And distract from the real blackmail network. Think about the timing. 2021 to 2024, DOJ holds Epstein files under Biden. Trump returns, New York Times suddenly has new photos. Tapes are still missing. Democrats prepping scandal-on-demand narrative smells like a clean-up op, not journalism. Trump called it what it is, a Democratic scam. Because what else do you call it when the tapes vanish, the DOJ shrugs, the media pretends they were never real, and suddenly convenient headlines reappear when Trump takes office? The New York Times showed you props, cameras, eyeballs, photos of elites, Woody Allen letters, but they're hiding the footage because whoever controls those tapes controls global leverage, and right now nobody's talking about them. They want you to be shocked. They want you to be distracted. They want you to forget who had the hard drives when it mattered. But we won't forget, not this time. The Epstein townhouse wasn't just a crime scene, it was a compromat factory, a honey trap, a global blackmail hub operating with protection. And now they're acting like it was just another tabloid tragedy. So ask the only question that matters. Who had the tapes? Where did they go? Who made sure we'll never see them? We don't need more photos, we need the servers. We want the tapes, not the theatre. That's it. So there you go. That was an interesting one. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Hope you can join me then. Have a good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.